Man, I love this game and this community. We got 3 different teams and or characters that look like they're coming to Marvel Strike Force in 2026. Stay to the end. The last one's going to be juicy. Let's go ahead and get right into it. We have a quote here from Dill and John Stone, right? They commented on a previous video and they said, hey man, the Julia Carpenter, right? Had to get the name. The Julia Carpenter version of Spider-Woman has been sitting there in the background during the Strike Spot video, right? During the Vision video. So we had to go back and take a look. And sure enough, we look right here next to Ryan Jacobson. What do we see? We see a box with the Spider-Woman inside there, right? And here it is again. If we look at the end, that Spider-Woman, it's still there. If we need a better look, right, we got this one here. And this version of the character is different than the one that we have in the game right now. The one we have in the game right now is the Jessica Drew version. And again, Dill and John were making reference to the Julia Carpenter version of the character. So there are 2 different people is the main point. And the interesting thing when it comes to the Julia Carpenter version, right, the black suit, she has the brown hair. The interesting thing about that character is the main team that she was on is the West Coast Avengers. So once again, we got another clue here that West Coast Avengers or some other Avenger derivative could be coming to Marvel Strike Force. Thank you guys for that wonderful comment. We made sure that we got that right here in the front of the video. Now, let's move on to a little bit more of a deep dive. That same picture at the end, a lot of us noticed in the upper right-hand corner, it was brought out. Well, here's this Guardians of the Galaxy comic book cover. Well, again, on further inspection, this is not a comic book cover. This is a poster. This is a print, and there is no comic book associated with this. It's just a print from the artist. And so while we were looking through on the Spider-Woman stuff, we kind of got focused in on this particular comic also right here, right? The one with the Doom on the cover. We got focused in on that as well because that comic book, right? These are variant covers, mind you. These are variant covers. So that comic book is actually the first issue of a Guardians of the Galaxy comic series. That's issue number 1. This is the 2023 comic book series of Guardians of the Galaxy. So it's kind of a soft reboot that just kind of makes the characters in the comics a little bit more like the characters in the MCU. Okay, so if you saw so-and-so in the comic book, and you see him in the TV screen, or excuse me, in the movies, they're going to be different, but not that different. So that particular issue itself didn't have a whole lot going on. But again, it's issue in the series where these individuals are being introduced. There's other people. There's kind of this rotating roster of other individuals that start getting on the Guardians of the Galaxy team, right? They start adding to their roster. There's 3 very interesting individuals that perhaps could make up a new Guardians of the Galaxy team in Marvel Strike Force. First individual is Agent Venom. So Agent Venom, he's already in the game. He's dated, right? There is some symbiote stuff that's going to be going on. Perhaps, right? We have 2 references to Guardians of the Galaxy in the form of that comic book and that poster. Perhaps this is a character that is going to be reworked and added to a new Guardians of the Galaxy team. The second character is Carol Danvers, also known as Captain Marvel. Once again, great character. She's been in the game for a long time. She too, though, is outdated. She could use a rework. She's a very important character in Marvel. So maybe this is another area where we could go. The third character, though, this would be new. This is a character we don't have in game yet. And the third character who joined up with the Guardians of the Galaxy during that comic book run is Angela. Now, there's a lot of people that were speculating that Angela would be coming to the game. Could she be coming on this Guardians of the Galaxy team? She is also an Asgardian. So she could have those Asgardian tags and maybe be on some new Asgardian team. That might happen as well. Just thought it was an interesting point. Had to bring it up. If we look at our Guardians team in general, there's a lot of them that are outdated. We could definitely use some more characters to add to this in the future. Maybe even that Star-Lord, right? Maybe even that Star-Lord who got reworked, right? The legendary Star-Lord who's on the Galactic Council. Perhaps right? They could tag in to him and make him somehow be part of this team. We don't know. I don't know anything. We're just speculating. That's the part that I love. That's the part that I love when it comes to Marvel. Let's move on to point number 3. Now, this is going to be, I think this is amazing. Okay, let's follow the logic. We got to follow the logic, though. There's a lot to think about here. Strike Spot Video. We got Pathfinder here. And we see the figurines on the screen. We got a Colossus. We have an Emma Frost. And we have a Deadpool. And then Pathfinder hands it over to Lori, right? And one of the figurines changed. We still have Colossus, we still have Emma, but now we have Jubilee. So we know a lot of us saw that. A lot of us noticed that changed. And once again, that's more than likely a signifier that Jubilee somehow is going to be one of those characters that they said is going to be playing this high profile event in some way, shape, or form in the Age of Fear here in 2026. With that, also, when we added that character in, because they took Deadpool out to put Jubilee in, when you add that character, the 3 individuals that are there are all X-Men characters, right? Not necessarily Deadpool. We know Deadpool sometimes has loosely been associated with the X-Men, but there's some questions, right? There's some questions sometimes whether he is an X-Man or not, okay? But when you take him out, put the Jubilee in, now we have a theme. We have a X-Men theme that's going here that still might lend itself to Generation X. Emma Frost and Banshee, we talked about that before. Emma Frost and Banshee were both the headmaster and the headmistress of the Generation X. And we already have an Emma in the game. So it's highly unlikely that they're going to bring a third Emma to the game. So this might just be some type of subtle nod to the fact that she was part of that team. And maybe that is the direction that they're going with Jubilee. And then perhaps in her stead, Colossus would be a character on that team, maybe knocking out the Shadowcat guest that I had, the Kitty Pryde guest that I had earlier. Now, that's not, though, the main point. See, right here, I don't know if you saw it, right here, there's something going on, right? Do you see that? So now we have a theme. We have a theme. Keep that in mind. And we have this figurine right here. So if we look at the words, we have this black background, kind of yellow, red words, and then there's a smaller, very small word underneath it. I had a very difficult time tracking this down, but I think it goes a long way with the theme that we're talking about. I think that what we're talking about here is X-Men 97. X-Men 97, I think, will be a team that will come to Marvel Strike Force during the Age of Fear. We look at the logo looks the same. That's what we have right there. I'm confident that that is the X-Men 97 logo right there. The thing that I was not super confident about is which figurine is that. It was very difficult to track down. That angle kind of makes it a little bit difficult. So I'm just kind of going by the fact that there's kind of some red right here and maybe some brown where there's no red. And we're going to go with the Gambit figurine. I don't think that the Gambit figurine itself is the clue. I think X-Men 97 is the clue. I don't think the Gambit itself is a clue, although it could be. There was I'm not going to spoil it, right? It's almost a year old. So you probably should have saw it by now, but Gambit plays a very, very prominent role in how that storyline ends. And so then he's also going to be probably playing a prominent role into how the storyline continues. So maybe he is important. Maybe we'll see something with him and Rogue. We'll just have to see. We'll just have to find out. The reason why I think this is so interesting is because if we look in game, right? We look in game and we're looking at our new costumes for the Retcon team. They're kind of in this cell shaded form, right? It could be cartoony. Some would say it could be cartoony. And there's some people that like it. There's some people that don't like it. But I don't think Marvel Strike Force, they do things on purpose, right? Everything they do is not accident. So I think what they're doing here is just kind of testing out the field. If they were to bring this team into the game and they were to pattern them off the animated series, a cartoon that is coming out this summer. They don't have a date. We don't have a date because they won't settle on a date. But it is coming out this summer, they say. It is coming out this summer. So perhaps all that's part of what's happening here is a test to see how would we feel about that? How would we feel about kind of this cel-shaded cartoony type character also being integrated with other characters that we have that don't look like that? Also, to the different quality, right? They could take this more cartoony, they could make it less cartoony. So they're getting feedback right now for free on a team where it's not, I don't want to say it's not impactful, right? The Retcon team is a good team, but if it's wrong and people don't like it, right, then you can just take the costume off and it's no harm, no foul. So I think they're collecting information to see how people are taking it. So if they were to make a character like this and that's how they look permanently, how could they do that in a way that would be most appealing to the community? Is this part acceptable that we have right now? What refinements could be made? And I'm looking forward to it. That's what I think's going on. You let me know what you think. Are we onto something here? Are we onto something here? I think so. You let me know in the comments below what you think. And are you excited for the Age of Fear Marvel Strike Force in 2026? We're going to keep our ear to the ground and see if we can find more Easter eggs. And if you want, you can report them in the chat. We'll see if we can figure it out and we'll show them right here on this channel. If you haven't seen this video though, right here, or even this other video, make sure you check them out, man, because they're legit.